Welcome, nursing assistant students for whom English is a second language. In this video, I'm going to share some tips on how to read your textbook in a way that will help you to pass your quizzes and your state board exam to become a certified nursing assistant. Keep in mind that reading to learn is different from learning to read. You must be intentional and purposeful. You must have a strategy. There are 3 stages of reading in reading textbooks: a before, a during, and an after. And you'll notice that each stage involves using a different strategy. Let's begin by applying these strategies to your nursing assistant textbook. Just as you wouldn't cross a street without looking both ways, you shouldn't begin reading your textbook without first getting the bigger picture. We call this previewing. Preview to get an overall sense of how the chapter is organized. For example, notice that each chapter is color-coded. This color is also reflected in the title. Underneath the title, you see learning objectives highlighted in red. They're also numbered, and if you scroll down or turn the pages, you'll realize that there are 10 learning objectives. If you can do the learning objective, you will have mastered the material in each section. Also, in boldface type, you see key terms. It's very important to understand the key term if you're going to be able to do the learning objective. Scrolling down a little further, you'll see that important items are bulleted. There are graphics and pictures to aid your learning. These blue boxes contain information about resident rights, which you will be expected to support as a nursing assistant. Scrolling down a bit further, more bulleted items, pictures, blue boxes. This looks like an impressive graphic. Guidelines for supporting the resident rights are highlighted in green. Also, highlighted in green are signs of abuse and neglect, which you will be expected to report as a nursing assistant. If you have previewed your chapter, you are ready to begin reading. During reading, you must set a purpose for your reading. And the best way to do that is by turning your title and these learning objectives into guide questions. Use the big question words like how, what, and why to form a guide question that will give you a sense of purpose as you read. For example, how would you, how, and this is going to be rather awkward, but write out the question over your learning objective. How would you compare long-term care to other healthcare settings? Question mark. As you read, look for the answer to this question. Scrolling down, we see a list of other settings, such as assisted living, adult day services, acute care. These are other settings that you can compare with long-term care. And you could also ask yourself the question, what is long-term care? Let's scroll down to Learning Objective 5 as another example. Describe the care team and the chain of command. Once again, use those big question words. How would you describe the care team? What is a care team? And why is the chain of command important? If you remember from our previewing, there was an impressive graphic. Actually, this graphic is a list of the care team and the chain of command. You might notice that nursing assistants are at the bottom of this chain, but your care of the resident is no less important than that of the director of nursing. If you were the director of nursing in your country of origin, you probably have insight into why the chain of command is so important. Make a note of it on the side and share it with your fellow students. At the very least, mark the graph as being important to answering your guide question. If you turn your learning objectives into guide questions, and you look for the answers as you read, and you mark the answers when you find them, you will be ready for the third stage, which is check your understanding and your memory. Each chapter has a review. Be sure to answer these questions. And if you do, and if you preview and read with a purpose, you will be well on your way to becoming an effective and efficient reader, prepared to read to learn.